There's a unique kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with a lack of sleep. It's a deep weariness in your very bones, a feeling that comes from playing a role for too long. You know the one. It's the role you've perfected over years, maybe decades. You wake up, put on the costume. It might look like competence, or quiet suffering, or cheerful optimism, and you walk onto the stage of your life. The script is so familiar, you don't even have to think about it anymore. You say the same lines in arguments with your parents. You have the same internal monologue while stuck in traffic. You feel the same familiar pang of anxiety when you see a certain type of person. It feels like you, but at the same time, it's a performance. And the exhaustion comes from a quiet, persistent whisper inside that says, "This stage is too small for me now." This feeling isn't a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're waking up to the architecture of your own reality. Most of us believe our sense of self is a solid thing, a record of who we are based on what has happened to us. We build an identity out of our past. I am a survivor because of what I endured. I am unlucky in love because of my past breakups. I am the responsible one because I've always had to be. I am the creative one who never finishes anything. These stories feel true. They are validated by heaps of evidence we've collected our entire lives. And here is the central paradox, the beautiful, heartbreaking trap we build for ourselves. The story that gives you a stable sense of who you are is also the very fence that keeps you locked in a tiny yard. Your story is both your anchor in the storm and the heavy chain attached to that anchor, keeping your ship from ever exploring a new shore. It defines you, but in defining you, it limits you. The story that once helped you make sense of the world, or even survive it, eventually becomes the very thing that stops the world from showing you anything new. Think about how this works. It's not a passive memory. Your personal story is an active, living instruction that you give to the world every single moment. It's like wearing a special pair of glasses. If your story is, "I am always overlooked," your glasses are tinted to highlight every instance of being ignored and to completely filter out moments of recognition. Someone holds a door for you. You don't even register it. Your boss praises a colleague, but not you. The glasses flash red, confirming the story. See, it happened again. Your story dictates what you perceive. Reality is presenting an infinite field of possibilities, an ocean of information in every second. But your story carves a narrow channel through that ocean. It tells reality what to show you. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because of some strange magic, but because of the simple mechanics of attention and perception. You're telling the universe, "Show me how I am a victim." And the universe, which is a neutral mirror, obliges by reflecting the evidence you're specifically looking for. It has to. That's the rule. Look at the patterns in your life. The same kind of partner, just with a different face. The same kind of conflict at work, just in a new office. The same feeling of disappointment on a Sunday evening. These aren't random coincidences. They are echoes. They are the same narrative playing out over and over because the main character, the story of you, hasn't changed. You think you're moving forward, but you're just walking in a circle, tracing the borders of the story you tell about yourself. The story feels so real, so solid, because your entire life has been spent gathering proof for it. Every memory is a brick in its wall, But what if the story isn't who you are? What if it's just a coat you've been wearing for so long you've forgotten it's not your skin? The story of the survivor is powerful, but it requires a constant battle to survive. The story of the unlucky one provides a strange comfort, an explanation for failure, but it prevents you from ever truly winning. We hold on to these stories because the alternative feels terrifying. If I am not my story, then who am I? The emptiness that question brings up is what keeps us clinging to our familiar cage. We'd rather be a well-defined prisoner than a free, undefined mystery. But that feeling of exhaustion, that sense of playing a role, is a call. It's a crack appearing in the wall of the story. It's an invitation from a deeper part of you that knows the story is just that, a story. It's not the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is the silent, aware space in which the story is being told. The real you is the reader, not the character in the book. And recognizing this difference is the first step to finally putting the book down. The patterns in your life aren't a curse. They are a map. They are pointing directly at the story that is running you. They are a gift, showing you exactly where the walls of your cage are. Once you see the walls, you realize they are made of thought, of old energy, of a decision you made a long, long time ago. And what is made of thought can be unmade by awareness. The transformation we are all moving towards isn't about writing a better, happier story for yourself. That's just redecorating the cage. It's about realizing you are not the story at all. It's about letting the old story run out of energy, letting it dissolve not through fighting it, but through simply seeing it for what it is. A habit, a comfortable, predictable, and profoundly limiting habit of thought. You are on the verge of remembering that you are the one who created this habit, and therefore, you are the one who can create a space for something entirely new to be born. That moment is now. It's always now. This isn't about blaming yourself for the story you've been living. That story was necessary. It got you here. It was a vehicle, a boat. But now you're at the shore, and it's time to get out and walk on land, to let go of the boat. You don't have to smash it or burn it. You just have to turn around, thank it for the journey, and gently, deliberately let go of the rope. You have to be willing to stand on the shore of the unknown without your defining story and just be. For a moment. That is where all freedom begins. That is the threshold to a completely different way of experiencing reality. One that isn't filtered through the lens of the past, but is met with the open, curious gaze of the present. And it is so much closer than you think. By the way, our shared space of light and awareness is on its way to 100,000 people. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and brings this moment closer. So you are standing on the shore, having let go of the rope to the boat. The boat was your story. For a moment, there is a feeling of dizzying freedom, but it can quickly be followed by panic. Who are you without the familiar wooden planks of that story beneath your feet? Here is the fundamental shift, the secret that isn't really a secret at all. You were never the boat. You were always the ocean. The entire time you identified with that small, contained vessel, you were actually the vast, boundless water it was floating on. This shift is about moving your attention from being the character in the story to becoming the quiet awareness, watching the story unfold. Think of it like this. When you're completely absorbed in a movie, you are the hero. You feel the fear, the love, the loss. But then someone coughs in the theater, and for a second, you remember. You're sitting in a dark room in a comfortable chair. You are the one watching the movie. The movie is happening, but it is not happening to you. The story of your life is the same. The drama, the tragedies, the comedies, they are a movie playing within your awareness. You are not the character on the screen. You are the silent, empty space of the theater in which the movie is projected. Realizing this doesn't stop the movie, but it changes your relationship to it completely. You are no longer its prisoner. How do you make this shift practical? It sounds big and abstract, but the method is unbelievably simple. It is the act of simply noticing. That's it. You don't have to fight your story. You don't have to analyze it. You certainly don't have to heal it. You just have to see it as it plays. Let's say you're at a family dinner and your mother says something that triggers the old story of, "I'm never good enough." You feel the familiar tightening in your chest, the flush of shame, the urge to defend yourself. The script is starting. Right there, in that moment, the work is to notice. A part of you becomes a quiet observer. It says, look, there it is. The not good enough story is starting. You don't judge it. You don't try to push it away. You just watch it. You feel the emotions rise, but you see them as part of the performance, not as the truth of who you are. You watch the impulse to speak your old lines, but you don't have to obey it. You simply observe. This act of pure, non-judgmental noticing is the most powerful act of freedom you can perform. It's like turning on a light in a room. You don't have to fight the darkness. The light simply dissolves it. Your awareness is that light. And here's what happens when you do this. When you notice the story without immediately reacting to it, you create a gap. A tiny space of silence opens up between the trigger and your usual response. It might only last for a second. It's the space between the end of the old familiar sentence in your head and the beginning of the next one. Everything, and I mean everything, lives in that gap. That silent space is a moment of pure potential. It's a crack in the matrix of your old reality. In that space, the automatic chain reaction is broken. Your life, for a brief moment, is no longer running on a pre-recorded track. You have a choice. Maybe in that space of silence at the dinner table, you don't say your usual defensive line. Maybe you just breathe. Maybe you look at your mother and see for the first time the story she's trapped in. Maybe you even feel a wave of compassion. Or maybe you simply choose to say nothing and take a sip of water. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that the choice was born out of present awareness, not from the dusty old script of the past. Each time you create this gap, you weaken the story's hold on you. You are taking your energy back from it. You are teaching your own consciousness that it no longer needs to automatically run that pattern. This is why the goal isn't to write a new, better story. Trying to replace "I am unlucky" with "I am lucky" is just exchanging one set of prison bars for another, slightly more gilded set. It's still a prison. The true transformation is letting go of the need for a story altogether. It's about becoming comfortable in that silent space where you are not defined. It is about resting in the quiet awareness that you simply are. And from that space of amness, reality can finally bring you something new, something that couldn't fit into the narrow confines of your old narrative. Life is constantly trying to deliver new possibilities to your doorstep, but they don't get delivered if your story has a sign on the door that says, only accepting packages that confirm my suffering. Noticing the story and allowing for that silent gap is like opening the door and taking down the sign. You're telling the universe, I'm open. Show me something I haven't seen before. You start to see how reality talks to you through coincidences and signs that you were previously blind to because your story filtered them out. You meet people who don't fit the old patterns. You find opportunities that defy your previous limitations. This isn't magic. You're just finally able to perceive what was already there, waiting for you to look up from your script. So the work is gentle. It's not a battle. It is a practice of quiet seeing. When you find yourself scrolling through social media and the story of everyone else's life is better begins, you notice it. You see it. You feel the ache it brings, but you see it as a weather pattern passing through the sky of your awareness. You are the sky, not the cloud. When you're lying awake at 3 a.m. and the story of all your past mistakes is playing on a loop, you notice it. You don't engage. You don't argue with the thoughts. You let them play out in front of your quiet, steady gaze. You are the deep, still ocean, not the chaotic waves on the surface. This is the path, not a grand, heroic journey of slaying your demons, but a soft, persistent, moment-by-moment practice of coming back to the silence that you already are. It is the beginning of living from a place of genuine freedom, where your life is no longer a predictable echo of the past, but an unfolding, surprising, and alive discovery. If this video changed something in you, write in the comments, "My old story ends here." Write it as your promise. Nobody